20-year-old accounting clerk Khanice Jackson went missing from her bus stop and was found 2 days later in a ditch along Dyke Road in St. Catherine, Jamaica. This is her story. Khanice Jackson was born in Portmore, St. Catherine, Jamaica, to mother Eunice Chambers and father Roy Jackson. She was her mother's only child and her father's only daughter. On March 24th, she was reported as missing by her family after she had left for work and did not return home that day. 2 days later, her body was found on the roadside in the bushes, her hand bound by a rope with her body partially dressed. It is stated that 50-year-old mechanic Robert Fowler was an immediate suspect. So who is Robert Fowler? Mr. Fowler was a 50-year-old mechanic whom Jackson met on a public transportation vehicle back in 2020. Both were from Portmore, St. Catherine, and also worked in the Crossroad area as well. After meeting, he became her personal driver and would drop her off at work and pick her up and bring her back home daily. So in Jamaica, usually when you meet a bus driver or a taxi driver and you guys become friendly, sometimes they tend to become your drivers, which means they'll drop you off and pick you up instead of you trying to find a new taxi every day. Because back in the days, we didn't have Uber or Lyft or any of those driving sites that they have here in the US. So it would just be better, you meet someone, you become friends with them, and then instead of, trying to get a new car every day, you would ask them like to pick you up and drop you off. So this is what Robert was doing for Kenise during the time when they met. They were never romantically engaged as Kenise already had a boyfriend. And even though Robert had confessed his feelings, she had shut it down, telling him she was not interested in him that way. He then agreed and said okay, and that he would still like to be her driver, and she agreed to this as well. After her body was found, he became the main suspect and he was taken into custody 2 days after. After searching his home, items belonging to Kenise were found. This included her handbag, duct tape used, the rope used, as well as cardboard boxes with stains of blood belonging to Kenise. Robert tried to change his story, saying someone else had killed her and he was only taking her somewhere else to see if she would revive. However, as you can tell, the story was far from believable. Kenise was finally laid to rest. Her family was able to say goodbye for the last time. Since this was during the height of the COVID pandemic, it was a small funeral, and her father, who lived in the US during that time, was able to fly home and attend her funeral. After she was laid to rest, Mr. Fowler finally had his day in court. He said in a statement to the investigators that he lured Kenise to his home, saying he has forgotten an equipment he needed for his job the day she was last seen. He said they then got into an argument in his car about money. He went on to say he slowly slid over to the back of the car where he had a rope waiting. He then used this to strangle her until she was foaming from the mouth, her body violently shaking. Once the shaking was done, he knew then and there she was dead. He attempted to hide her body twice, once in an abandoned building at Forum Fishing Village, where he bound her hands and feet and left and went to work for the day, as if nothing happened, before finally coming back after work, moving and dumping her and her belongings along the crossroad in St. Andrew. This is where her decomposed body was found 2 days later. The postmortem report said that Jackson's cause of death was neck compression and that the body had signs of blunt impact trauma. Fowler pleaded guilty on his first court date. He was given life in prison and ordered to serve 22 years and 11 months before being eligible for parole. Her mother prays to see a day when there would be no more killing of children, women, or anyone in general again. She had seen similar stories like this on the news before, but she had never expected to see herself in this situation in a million years. 200 women were killed in Jamaica in 2020